Pre-watch thoughts. The God of High School is an adaptation of an online comic. The online comic comes from a comic hosting site/app called Webtoons. I've read a lot of comics from Webtoons. I've never read The God of High School, but I'm still hopeful that this show does well. After all, if the show does well, that means that other comics from the site that I've actually read have a better chance of being made. That being said, let's see how it is. The opening. They did a pretty good job of matching the aesthetic of the intro song with the aesthetic of the intro's look. But overall, something just feels a little off. There's a part where a character is mouthing the lyrics of the song, quote, "I'll be your contradiction," but they cut him off halfway through the word contradiction, which killed the vibe a bit. Each of these characters gets a little fight scene, but again, the timing feels off just a little bit. They also put Webtoon and Crunchyroll logos on the ring here. Seeing them also killed the vibe a bit. I give this intro a 2 out of 3. It looks nice, but something just seems off. That's it for the opening. From here on out, it's gonna be spoilers. So if you don't want a show that's shaping up to be a pretty good action comedy spoiled for you, you might want to leave. Episode 1. Set up, stand up. Summary. We open with a trio of shady guys on a tropical island. They're talking like they're the masterminds who run their country from the shadows. I think they're currently trying to push around a guy in power named Mr. Park. Too bad for them. It looks like Mr. Park pushes back. I hope those masseuses are okay. Cut to a sad, rainy oil painting with a sad little smooshy boy named Mori. His grandfather pats him on the head and says,
"You have to be a big boy now, Morty."
"I promise, Grandpa. I promise I'll be a big boy."
Hey, you're finally awake.
Mori awakens from his dream and looks directly at the giant picture of his happy grandfather and his smooshy self, which is like one of 4 things in his room. You know, I got the curtains, I got the bedroll, I got the little wardrobe, and of course, you know, I got the giant picture of me and my grandfather where I look like a depressed little child. He's about to go back to sleep, but then he's like, hold up, what time is it? Oh no. Screaming like a goblin, Mori runs and bikes at supersonic speeds. He almost kills an old lady and she's like, "Oh, get back here and apologize, young man." But Mori is too busy, literally driving off a cliff. Mori watches someone steal an old lady's purse. And time slows down as Mori imagines an entire backstory for the old lady. It's so tragic that he tears up a little. Mori then begins to pursue the criminal, screaming, "Stop, thief, she has to pay for that surgery." Keep in mind, Mori has never met this woman in his entire life. The chase is action-packed and hilarious. Mori's got the thief on the ropes, but then he crashes into a girl, who is initially hostile, but quickly joins his cause after hearing the old lady's backstory that Mori has both made up and believes. The girl is about to absolutely annihilate the thief, but she hits her face on a sign. The thief thinks he's gotten away, but then some absolute Chad just clotheslines him. These 3 are immediately best friends. The other guy's name is Han, and the girl's name is Mira. They go to an arena where they're about to participate in the preliminaries for an extremely popular worldwide fighting tournament called God of High School. All the contestants have been injected with nanomachines that monitor their vitals. It's totally over the top and ridiculous, but I like to think the show knows that. The contestants all enter into a ring, probably thinking they're going to be introduced, but the announcer is just like, "All right, start fighting." And everyone just kind of looks at each other, but then a couple people get into an argument, start fighting, and all hell breaks loose. We get to see why the intro's timing was off here. They actually just took fight scenes from this battle and threw them into the intro with a little color swap, which kind of ruins the impact of both the intro and the fights themselves. Neither seems as cool when you know they're recycled. Just like the chase scene, this fight is action-packed and hilarious. But uh-oh guys, a new challenger is approaching. They've used the nanobots in him to put him at 20% power, but looks like regardless of this fact, he's here to cull the herd. Then Mori takes off the pants of this new challenger, but then decides it was probably a bad idea and puts them back. This moment was strange and awkward. When I saw it, I thought, man, this show is really good. But if it starts doing stuff like this all the time, it's gonna be bad. Anyway, the episode ends with Mori and the challenger about to go at it with full power. My impression. This show is action-packed and hilarious. The characters are crazy and over the top, and I love them. especially the MC Mori, who is just clinically insane. This show does a great job of setting up how big a deal God of High School is to its world, constantly showing perspectives from live streams, commentators, huge crowds, and faces in those crowds. The faces aren't total randos either. They're little side characters that we met briefly, like this rapper or these martial artists that Mari met, who got pissed when the challenger disrespected her in a fight. I love it. It really brings the world to life. In the opening, I didn't like how Crunchyroll and Webtoon branding was on stuff, but it's not like a one-off thing. It keeps coming up. And honestly, I don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, like, when did Crunchyroll and Webtoon get enough money to be the sole sponsors of the world's biggest fighting tournament? Honestly though, my biggest worry is that the show's writing will devolve, and we'll see things that are a lot more like randomly pantsing a guy in the middle of a fight, and less like an amazing action comedy. But those are just worries. At the moment, this show is gold, and a 3 out of 3. I can't wait to watch the next episode. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.